गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपा जय शील प्रभुपा जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुचरष्टोत्तर ग्रेस शिलपे चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडराचार्य बिगड़ी फाउंडराचार्य सेव द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। पिताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 9, entitled The Dynasty of Amshuman, text number 44. न बाल्येऽपि मतिर्मह्यम् अधर्मे रमते क्वचित् न पश्यम् उत्तमश्लोकान् अन्यत् किञ्चन वस्त्वहम्। न बाल्येऽपि मतिर्मह्यम् अधर्मे रमते क्वचित् न पश्यम् उत्तमश्लोकान् अन्यत् किञ्चन वस्त्वहम्। न बाल्येऽपि मतिर्मह्यम् अधर्मे रमते क्वचित् न पश्यम् उत्तमश्लोकान् अन्यत् किञ्चन वस्त्वहम्। Na, not balye, in childhood, api, indeed, matihi, attraction, mahyam, of me, adarme, in irreligious principles, ramate, enjoys, kvachit, at any time, na, nor, apashyam, I saw, uttamashlokat, than the personality of Godhead, anyat, anything else, kinchana, anything, vastu, substance, aham, I. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Abhayacharana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I was never attracted, even in my childhood, by insignificant things or irreligious principles. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And please read the translation. I was never attracted, even in my childhood, by insignificant things or irreligious principles. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Maharaja Katwanga provides a typical example of a Krishna conscious person. A Krishna conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nor does he accept anything within this material world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8.274. Stavara jangama dheke na dheke tara murti sarvatra hayanija ishtadeva spurti. The Mahabhagavata, the advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their forms. Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. Although a devotee is within the material world, he has no connection with it. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. He accepts this material world in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee may be engaged in earning money, but he uses that money for propagating the Krishna consciousness movement by constructing large temples and establishing worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Katwanga Maharaj, therefore, was not a materialist. A materialist is always attached to wife, children, home, property, and many other things for sense gratification. But as stated above, Katwanga Maharaj was not attached to such things. Nor could he think of anything existing without the purpose of the Supreme Lord. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, this consciousness is not for the ordinary person. But if one takes to the path of devotional service, as prescribed in the Nectar of Devotion, he can be trained in this consciousness and attain perfect understanding. For a Krishna conscious person, nothing is palatable without a relationship with Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda Purport and translation to Canto 9, Chapter 9, Text 44 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a verse spoken by Maharaja Katwanga, where he is telling that he was never attracted, even from his very childhood, to any insignificant things or irreligious principles. And he did not find anything more valuable and substantial than the Supreme Lord. So we can see here the detachment with which Maharaja Katwanga possessed and the attraction which he possessed towards the Supreme Lord was even from his very childhood. That means even a child can become Krishna conscious, can be fully Krishna conscious. And we have many more examples like Maharaja Katwanga. We have Prahalad Maharaj, Sriman Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaj himself. So Krishna consciousness cannot be hindered by anything material. Ahaituki apratihata. The Bhagavatam first canto, the statement is made by Suta Goswami. Nothing material can restrict or obstruct a devotee's Krishna consciousness. So there cannot be any reason for somebody not to become Krishna conscious. Because of this, because of that, there is no such reasons. We can see even from very childhood, Maharaja Katwanga was detached and was attached. See, there is a parallel detachment and attachment. He was detached from all material things. He was attached to Krishna. Here Maharaja Katwanga says that he was never attracted even in his childhood by insignificant things or irreligious principles. What does it mean by insignificant things? Refers to something which does not foster one's Krishna consciousness. Generally you can say material things, anything which is not connected with Krishna, but especially that which does not advance our Krishna consciousness, then that is to be considered insignificant and rejected. Otherwise, time is very short and we may lose time by the time we develop our full Krishna consciousness. If somebody is very busy in material life, he is actually losing his precious time in human life to develop his Krishna consciousness. And as we have heard many times, we do not know when we will get this human form of life back again. Of course, if one has practiced Krishna consciousness to some degree, at least there is a guarantee of human birth next life, where he can continue his practices. But otherwise, there is no such guarantee of getting human life once again. Now, to realize anything material is insignificant takes a good lot of Krishna consciousness. Unless one is a devotee, he cannot realize that anything in this world which is not in connection with Krishna consciousness is insignificant. To get this realization takes time. The whole Bhagavatam presentation is to make us realize that how anything material is insignificant. And now Krishna is the most valuable thing in our life. The whole purpose of Bhagavatam is aimed towards this conclusion. And Bhagavatam wants to impress upon every soul this statement made by Katwanga Maharaj. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of God. So our whole practice of Krishna consciousness is to realize this. When we appreciate the value of Krishna consciousness, then only we'll give up attachment to all material things. So more you advance in Krishna consciousness, detachment becomes natural. Detachment from anything material becomes natural. Sometimes detachment is very difficult. Not sometimes, most of the times detachment is difficult for most people, including devotees. Isn't it? Why? Why is detachment difficult for even devotees? One reason could be that we are trained in a different way all through our life, in a materialistic way of life. Another reason is we lack sufficient attachment to Krishna consciousness process or Krishna. So more you are attached to Krishna, detachment becomes very easy. Detachment towards material things becomes very easy. So that is why our whole method is how to develop attachment to Krishna, how to increase our attachment to Krishna. And when you increase this proportion of attachment to Krishna, automatically detachment to this world takes place. We don't have to do much in terms of detachment. But as a sadhaka, we do practice detachment. We have to, because we have not developed sufficient attraction or attachment to Krishna. So we have to develop or cultivate vairagya. One place Prabhupada says very nicely, one interesting reference. Prabhupada says that this was again in connection with children. He was generally referring to the Gurukul boys in ISKCON. He's saying, I think one teacher, Gurukuli teacher, is basically ISKCON devotee. He was trying to tell Prabhupada about the difficulty that children may have in getting up early in the morning for Mangalarati. Prabhupada said, oh no. For them it is great fun to rise early in the morning and sing and dance in the kirtan early morning, so they will enjoy like anything. That is actually a fact. It's a question of training. So small children will like to get up early morning. So I was surprised when I read that statement by Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said they will enjoy like anything. It's a question of training and culturing. That is why anything which is inculcated in childhood, it is very desirable. Because then Krishna conscious life becomes natural. All our practices becomes natural. Now it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But the struggle is in the mind. The struggle is in the wrong values which we have pasted towards material things. Towards what I believe today. We have pasted, the world has pasted, I have learned. That is why. So wrong value creation has happened. So we have to revalue all the things in our life through Shastra, Guru and Sadhu. Because you will pursue things what you value. So therefore we have to learn the right valuation from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Be it anything you do in life. See, Prabhupada nicely talks about making money. We'll come to that shortly. Earning money. Could be eating, could be even family life, could be business, could be profession, could be spiritual activities, could be anything. Reading, pursuing a certain career. One may have some certain traits. How do we give a Krishna conscious perspective and opportunity for those things? Could be anything. So the question of how do we channelize it in line with Krishna consciousness? So that training we have to get. So this Krishna conscious movement is actually, which Prabhupada has created, is training devotees in the right values. Better late than never. From childhood if you have got, we are very fortunate. Otherwise even now we can get these right values and And once the right values are set in and right goals are fixed, then we will move towards that. It will not be a struggle anymore. It will not be a struggle anymore. Even in material life, if you see, anything one wants to achieve, the hard work is there. Anything one wants to achieve, you want to make big money, you want to get post-graduation, PhD, anything you want to pursue, establish a good business, it is difficult. It takes a lot of effort. But because he has fixed a certain goal, he will pursue, he will endure all the difficulty. He is ready for it, isn't it? Because that is his value. That is the value he has given in his life. For him, that is valuable. Similarly, if we can impress people, impress ourselves, the importance and the emergency of Krishna consciousness, then there is no more difficulty in detachment. Krishna consciousness is important and urgent. We have this time quadrant. There is one quadrant called, it is important and urgent. So Krishna consciousness is important and it is urgent. Cannot be neglected. Have to do right now. As we see in Maharaja Katwanga's own life, when he won the battle on behalf of the Devatas, and when the Devatas want to give a benediction to Katwanga Maharaj, he asked, how much time do I have? So they just calculated and said, just 1 moment left. So urgent. Of course, Maharaja Katwanga was trained earlier itself, as we see from his own words. It was no difficult for him. He was given 1 moment time. No problem, I am ready all time. If we are given 1 moment from now, are we ready? We are practicing for a lifetime. At least we are fortunate we are practicing. So much time it is taking. Why it is taking time? As I said, because that's the wiring we have done, the conditioning which has happened for millions of lives. But in one lifetime, Prabhupada has promised to change the entire wiring. One lifetime. Actually, Prabhupada says 1 moment is enough. Similar to Katavanga Maharaj, provided we are willing. In the Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd chapter, last verse, purport, Prabhupada makes a significant statement in this regard. The very first line in the purport. 2nd chapter, text 72. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second. Or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. And Prabhupada quotes Maharaja Katwanga only here. Katwanga Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering unto Krishna. So Prabhupada says, 1 second is enough. But what is the clue Prabhupada gives? See, theory is all fine, but we want something practical, right? So what the clue Prabhupada is giving us? It's a matter of understanding and accepting. If you accept the statement of Shastra, immediately you become very comfortable in chanting, in prasadam, in giving up onion garlic, giving up tea, coffee. Everything in a moment it becomes simple. But if you're not willing to accept, it will be a great battle and struggle. Same thing with sadhana. If you're well prepared in your mind, how to do it, it becomes easy. But if you don't want to, it will be a great, big botheration. Big botheration. Chanting 16 rounds. All Krishna conscious principles. Taking prasadam. It is for one's good. Ultimate good. What is the difficulty? Prabhu, so difficult in my home, they don't cooperate, they don't accept, it's very difficult, we don't have arrangement. These are actually irrelevant statements. It's just like just like saying, if somebody is very sick or somebody is in very serious health condition and then the doctor has prescribed something for him, saying, Prabhu, it's very difficult. How can I give this medicine? How can I give this tonic? It is so difficult. How can you make this statement? The person is in life and death situation, or person is in serious health condition, just got to give a tablet. Suppose if it is very practical to get one tablet from a pharmacy shop or some simple tonic. And then if you're unwilling, then it looks so ridiculous. When it is so relevant to give the tablet and tonic to the patient for his good. So similarly, Krishna consciousness is so much a necessity for one's existence. So we cannot say that I cannot take prasadam, I cannot chant, I don't have time. These are things which are should and must. There is something called as should and must. These are things which are should and must, not a question of choice. We have choice in Krishna consciousness. Somebody may say, Prabhu, our whole life is full of rules. Everything is rules only. Do's and don'ts, do's and don'ts. No, there are choices. But there is a limit within those choices. Just like Lakshman Rekha, which is in that Ramayana story, past time. Lakshmana do one Lakshman Rekha. So within that you are free to move, but don't cross that line and go. Then you will be in trouble, right? So we have lot of opportunity in Krishna consciousness. We have nice prasadam, nice kirtana. You can sing different tunes, if of course in a nice way. You can have varieties of prasadam offered to the deity of the Lord, deity in the temple or at home, and take nice prasadam. You have nice opportunity to read Shastra and explain that to people. You can dance nicely. So much opportunity is there. So there is freedom. But there is also Lakshman Rekha. Should not cross. Especially in the conditional state, which is for our good. So the principle here is, if you have accepted Krishna consciousness as the ultimate and the most valuable thing in your life, then every rule regulation becomes insignificant. Meaning, you will happily follow. See, you can follow with difficulty, or as a matter of duty, or joyfully. Now, which category you want to follow, we should decide. You can do it joyfully. It is so nice. Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, Susukham kartum avyayam, in the 9th chapter. So, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service is performed joyfully, not with force. Sometimes force is that's initial for a neophyte. Just like a student is told, go to school, go to school. A child is told, go to school. Sometimes the parents may force. The child does not know the value of education. But once he gets a taste for education, he will himself, Amma, time is up, I am going to the school. My breakfast is ready, like that. So, till we come to the stage of ruchi and asakti, little difficulty might be there. Or even till anartha nivritti, sufficient anartha nivritti happens. Even after that you will become steady. More or less you will become steady in the state of nishta. And ruchi asakti you will not even give up. You will relish Krishna consciousness. So the anartha nivritti stage takes little more time. Instead of anartha nivritti. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti is the 4th stage. So for Anartha Nivritti happens, you become steady. When you become steady and fixed up in Krishna consciousness, then you start tasting Krishna consciousness. Then there is no giving up, looking backward. So for Anartha Nivritti to happen sufficiently, Bhajana Kriya must happen. Devotional service. But what kind of devotional service? Devotional service which is recognized by the Goswamis, which is authorized by the Goswamis and the Acharyas, bona fide Acharyas. So for us, as far as we are concerned, in the Krishna, in the Krishna conscious movement, whatever Prabhupada has said is our standard. Sometimes some references may come, Prabhu, I have read this from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's or from Jiva Goswami's teachings, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur has spoken like this, has given this direction about chanting, about deity worship. So what should I do? Sometimes devotees, they finish Srimad Bhagavatam, they finish off quickly. Then they started reading Goswami's books and all. Nothing wrong. Then lot of contradictions will creep in. How do you reconcile? So Prabhupada has explained, you have to see the previous Acharya's teachings through the lens of the current Acharya. So the current Acharya is Srila Prabhupada. So you have to look from his viewpoint, what he has given, the essence of it. And don't get into the details of the things. What Prabhupada has given, theory and practical, we just follow that. That is our standard. That is why when in Nectar of Devotion it is said, don't read too many books. It actually means read your spiritual master's books. That means what is written by Prabhupada. Why? Because you get confused. You will be lost in so many details and teachings. But how do you reconcile all of them to what the Acharya is saying? So that is why you just read Prabhupada's books. So if the willingness is there, that's why we should prepare our mind to accept the process of Krishna consciousness as per the sadhana bhakti given by Rupa Goswami and by our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And as we see in the case of Katwanga Maharaj, there is no hindrance or obstruction for age or any material reason not being able to practice Krishna consciousness. No such thing. Everybody can practice Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada then says in the purport that a Krishna conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor does he accept anything within this material world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord. This is another interesting point Prabhupada is making. He does not see anything more important than Krishna or Krishna consciousness. Okay, that is one part. The second part Prabhupada is saying is, he does not see anything material also which is disconnected from the Supreme Lord. Everything is creation of the Lord. So why disconnected from the Lord? And Prabhupada goes on to quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sthavara Jangama Deke Na Deke Taramurti. So whatever he sees, immediately he sees the connection with Krishna. Because it's a fact. Is it a kind of psyching? No, it is a fact. Everything is connected with Krishna. Maybe it is difficult to comprehend for us how everything can be Krishna's. There is a rich personality like that. We don't have in our experience. To give a crude example, sometimes there can be a rich man. I met one person in Bangalore. He visits 60 countries. 60 countries he has got business. So I came to Mysore. I just messaged him, I'm in Mysore. So just I messaged him. Said, then please send me the location, I would like to come and meet you. Probably he has a house in Mysore also, not sure. So he visits 60 countries. So it's difficult to conceive. Sometimes we see some companies, I am giving this example just for the sake of understanding, nothing otherwise comparable to the Supreme Lord, what we are trying to understand. Sometimes there are companies which has its presence in, they have 1,000 branches, 1,000 plus branches. How do you conceive? 1,000 plus branches they are managing. So even an insignificant soul in this world is able to, manage so many things, possess so many things, have their company's presence everywhere, practically in every major city in the world. So it's not difficult. Then how much must be the Supreme Lord? So everything which is created, Ishavasya sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat, everything that is created, both animate and inanimate, is the creation of the Supreme Lord and is under the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 5th chapter, so Krishna directly claims in the last verse, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Sarvaloka maheshwaram. Krishna is claiming all the creation is his. Is there any exaggeration? Any falsity? No. Krishna is truly claiming because he possesses. Sometimes for us it is difficult to conceive. Really? Sometimes we go for preaching and then we see a person with simple dhoti and simple one angavastra on the top. And he may be a crorepati. This man, crorepati? So sometimes it's difficult to believe, isn't it? We'll get very good experiences in preaching field. Sometimes even a big PhD or even a suppose a university very senior professor, at his home he may be wearing some simple dhoti and some simple white shirt. You'll be wondering, this man is you may doubt even that whether he is even having a basic degree. He may be a big professor. He would have written some 50 articles and posted also. So you should not go by externals. Just a crude example. So like that, the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything. So there is nothing which is unconnected or disconnected from the Lord. Narada Muni describes to Vyasadeva, this is called Bhinnadrik or a separatist vision. Separatist vision. That means you see things disconnected from the Lord, and that is the cause of fear which Bhagavatam describes. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshataha. Fear creeps in, sets in, the moment we see anything separated from Krishna, which is not connected with Krishna. So, Rupa Goswami has taught the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Nirbandha Krishna, Prabhupada quotes that in the purport. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. How to see factually things in connection with Krishna. It is not a psyching or an exaggeration or some falsity. No. Devotees, at least as devotees, we should not think that we should somehow try to fit in and connect with Krishna. No. Factually things are connected with Krishna. Simple example. I try to give a lot of examples so that it's little easy to relate. Just like, suppose, we all have our homes, right? And in your home, you have so many things at home. You have maybe a tape recorder, a car, kitchenette, a bed, a computer. So somebody comes to your house. You ask, this computer belongs to whom? It's mine. This car belongs to whom? It's mine. Because this house also, home belongs to you. So like that. Similarly, is it exaggeration? Is it psyching? It is a fact. Because I purchased. It is my asset. So like that everything in the creation is God's. What is illusion or what is exaggeration? It is a fact. The only thing is, everything in the creation, both material and spiritual, belongs to God. Such a personality exists. First we should accept that fact. That's why sometimes we are using examples of relative truth. But actually you don't require examples of relative truth to understand absolute truth. Because both are completely different. That is why if you depend more on the path of relative truth, you may get stuck. What is relative truth? We are trying to give so many material examples, right? So many rich people are there, so many educated people are there, Like that we are trying to understand. Like that God is the most educated, most learned, most rich, or rather the richest. Just a comparative study. Actually, that is also wrong. But just to understand for the immediate need to appreciate. Otherwise, for us, no, there is no parallel to understand God. Absolute truth. So this is called Shaka Chandra Nyaya. Seeing the moon through the branches of a tree. If you want to show a child or indicate a child what a moon is, how it looks like, what it is, where it is. So it's difficult to conceive for the child what is moon. So you bring the child near a tree and then between the branches you say, my dear child, just look through this. What you see there, that object? Jai Krishna Balaram Prabhupada. That is the moon. So you indicate as a reference point of a tree to indicate what is the moon. So like that, the examples are used only as a medium to understand absolute truth. But it is not dependent, absolute truth is not dependent on examples and logics of this world. It is a stand-alone truth, absolute truth. So you accept direct Vedic statements, you don't require support of any other thing. You don't require the support of any other thing. It is self-evident. Absolute truth, subject matter of absolute truth, and Shastra is like that. But just to help the neophyte, examples are given. So, in conclusion, so if we can relate everything to Krishna, then there is no Maya. You will not have the fear of Maya. If you can become expert in connecting every situation to Krishna consciousness, factually, scientifically, not sentimentally. And that is, Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Devotion, this science is being found in the last sentence of the purport, one sentence before Prabhupada says, if one takes to the path of devotional service as prescribed in the Nectar of Devotion, he can be trained in this consciousness. What is that consciousness? That everything is related with Krishna, not disconnected with Krishna. Then one can attain perfect understanding. Prabhupada also concludes by saying a significant point. For a Krishna conscious person, nothing is palatable without a relationship with Krishna. These are Prabhupada's realizations. So soon we can also come to that stage. It is a fact for every single soul that nothing is palatable in this world without Krishna. So therefore, there is no hindrance for Krishna consciousness. At any point of time, we can become attracted to Krishna consciousness and develop our full Krishna consciousness. That is the lesson we learn from Maharaja Katwanga. Even as a child, he was fully Krishna conscious. And that developed great value for Krishna and to nothing else other than Krishna. So we can also develop right now also, following in the footsteps of Katwanga Maharaj. Stop here anyways. Grantharaja Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.